Computer.
Recording.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name's Kian. I've got Cece here next to me. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening. This is a quick presentation about our Little Star homeschool curriculum. We just launched only about 2 months ago, really, part-time. We just started moving towards a full-time schedule. So we've got here also the parents and teacher ruling. So hello to everyone. We'll try to keep this relatively quickly. I think realistically 30 to 40 minutes. We'll hopefully have some time for sharing and any questions and so on. So let's get started. So helping your child develop their divinely inspired gifts. Let's move on. So really there's three core pillars that we thought we would kind of base our school on. Drawing from the best of the East and the West, kind of a holistic approach to early childhood growth, because the kids we know will be from roughly 2. Our youngest Lee is only 2 years and about 3 months old, and the others are 3 and 4ish, that type of age. So 3 core pillars of artistic and the musical talents, obviously, on the first, but fundamentally the core being cultivation, violent alpha cultivation, and then obviously third, fostering the joy of learning and critical thinking through play. We are bilingual. I think our intention was to go roughly 80-20, focusing perhaps a bit more on Mandarin, but for example Eddie, I think you guys are combination, like speaking in English and Mandarin sort of thing. So obviously there are also reading in English where I'm involved, or teaching chess or whatever, which is in English, some enrichment programs that obviously are only in English. But we're doing about an 80-20 split, I think, roughly. Would that be fair to say? Yeah. Okay, cool. So those who are relatively new to Montessori, we thought we'd quickly go over some of the the basics of Montessori. I first came across Montessori about 20 odd years ago. I was really interested in early childhood development and brain development. Back in the 90s, I was reading books about there's books by Gordon Dryden, The Learning Revolution, which was a big hit, sold millions of copies in China and around the world. And Montessori early childhood philosophy was mention of one of the most popular early childhood development programs. And then when I met Cece, she came from a family of Montessori teachers. Her mom and her aunt opening many schools inside China, and she came over to the US initially to study Montessori in Atlanta, actually, and then she completed the American Montessori program in Manhattan at the West Side School. And I was involved with all that, helping her with all the assignments and things. So it was good to go through that process over that year. So here's a quick summary. The child is naturally eager. It's all the premise of Montessori is that the child is naturally eager for knowledge, and but the key is creating a prepared learning environment. So there's 5 key areas that we'll talk about shortly. And Dr. Montessori, who is the founder of this particular program, she was the first Italian doctor, female doctor, in the 19th century, turn of the 20th century, roughly 100 odd years ago. And she initially helped young, mentally challenged children to develop their learning abilities, and she developed the whole program for them and had incredible results. And then she thought, well, what if I applied this methodology to regular children, and likewise had incredible results. In fact, the mentally challenged children were getting to the almost normal sort of quote unquote levels of learning and so on using her methods. So she started teaching this. She brought it to the US, and it became really popular, around the early 20th century, and it went on from there. So she observed, through her scientific, research for many decades, children experience this kind of sensitive period, which is a key window of opportunity. Obviously, with the latest research on brain development, we know 80-90% of our learning abilities happens within the first 3-4 years. And school, it's already too late when kids normally go to school at age, 5 and 6. It's the brain's already 90% plus formed. Children learning by absorbing everything in the environment. So it's a holistic mind, body, spirit approach to learning. Children learn through sensory motor activities, through obviously our cognitive powers, through direct experience, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, the 5 senses, you could say. Children learn through repetition and finding joy in mastery. And the child's mind is very different at each stage, and the stages are very predictable. The home, the school, and society are responsible for caring for and teaching the child. The approach also values the human spirit and the development of the whole child. Montessori had a Christian background. So she obviously valued that side of the spiritual being, the physical, social, emotional, and cognitive aspect, the whole child. As the students develop, the Montessori teacher matches the appropriate lessons and material to these sensitive periods. So it recognizes that each child is slightly different, and it's a much more customized approach to learning. So the role of the adult, the teacher, and the role of the child. Well, the teacher's role is predominantly to guide the child through a setting filled with enriched language and movement. And also the teacher meaningfully prepares the learning environment. These kind of wooden, you notice a lot of wooden educational toys and the shelves. It's all very much a traditional approach to Montessori. So the child, it feels that this is really hands-on, right? It's not just a bunch of plastic toys or something, but this is really physical and
real world.
The real world, right?
Wood.
Real wood. It's natural. It's nature, and it's the environment encourages the child to learn through exploration and experimentation. And the child also learns through interaction, obviously, with the adult, the environment, the other kids. It's multi-age. As mentioned here, it fosters this peer-to-peer learning, and the elder children can care for the younger ones and share, and mirrors the real world, really. It's kind of a little bit the traditional school where everyone's the same age is not really how the real world is. So this is an interesting environment to create a more real world environment where the individuals work and socialize with other peers of all different ages and backgrounds. So another emphasis is an uninterrupted block of work time to develop the concentration, which is very important. People sometimes have this misconception that it's yes, follow the child is one of the maxims or the mottos of Montessori, but people think, oh, is it too much creativity, too much freedom to do whatever they want? And it's kind of freedom within limits. So there really is a guided approach, to be guided by the teachers. You get to kind of choose, but there is a certain monitoring done by the teacher. The characteristics of the environment, meticulously arranged, it's aesthetically pleasing. The child, environment, and the teacher create this kind of learning triangle. The classroom is prepared to encourage independence, sense of order, and cooperation. And the 5 key areas, as we gave a tour for everyone, include practical life, sensorial, language, math, and cultural studies. Now, we have, as part of the Montessori method, lesson plans. So this is something that CC prepares and adjusts every week or so. Is that correct?
So every month I will do the lesson plan for each child, but I will update like each week.
Okay, so it's
according to observe the children in the classroom, the ability and so on.
So it's a customized approach. Practical life, for example, is really the foundation for learning, especially where the typical early childhood program for Montessori starts at 2.5 years of age. So we were a little bit hesitant to get started because our youngest was only 2 years and 2 months roughly when we started in September. So we wanted just to kind of ease into it. But they're learning how to do the basics, pouring, putting on clothes, and all that good stuff. The child engages in meaningful activities that enable them to strengthen the mind-body connection through large and small motor development. Help build their concentration, the coordination, independence, and that sense of order, preparing them for more complex and lengthy works in other areas. Sensorial, as you can see here, it's all the basics of the senses, exploring materials and sharpen and refine the five senses. It's going to help them prepare for more of the mathematical concepts. Language, developing pre-literacy and literacy skills from concrete experiences from reading, writing, receptive language, and expressive language. So this material on the right here is all that Montessori, so they can develop phonetics and learn how to piece words together, etc. We've got some little videos here. So obviously we can teach Chinese using things like Hongying and so on. And we have we're growing our library of English books as well, buying lots of books. And so the kids here, this is a nice contribution here from Edward Inge, the Simon and Adela. It's a great little book here. Let's move to the next one. Mathematics, children develop concrete understanding of mathematical and logical concepts, and they progress to more abstract and complex content. Now, with Montessori early childhood programs, it can be quite advanced. Even the 4 and 5-year-olds can be learning up to what traditionally is 6 and 7-year-old kids, right, at schools. What I really like about one of some of the learning material, as you see on the right here, is this, what do you call this? The 1,000 cubes, right? So it's very tactile. They can actually see the representation of 100. These blocks here, as you can see, are 10 by 10, and I'll show you some little cool videos where we're counting blocks to 9,000. So the kids can count up to 9,000 already.
对，这是1000、2000、3000，来 Nora 4000、5000、
5,000、
6000、
6,000、
7000。
Oops
8000，最后一个来9000。哇！
给我妈妈看。
给我妈妈看。
Let me show my mommy this. So big.
对啊，我们从1数到了9000。
So the kids love it. I mean, it's like, when I learned maths, it was so abstract, and some people say the brain isn't supposed to really understand a lot of abstract stuff until they're like 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever. But here they start, it's so tactile, and they start, seeing and feel, the representation of numbers.
The quantity of the numbers they can feel in hands.
Really kind of cool. Oh, let's move on.
对，这是1000。
Trying to move to the next slide. Cultural studies, the geography, history, biology, peace studies, arts and music. So that's all covered as well. And so we have additional enrichment programs that we're gradually rolling out, from singing and dancing and chess to. So we'll quickly go over some of the different things we call the enrichment programs. Obviously, the foundation being Fa Study and Fa Zhenyan, and gradually all the kids are now doing the Fa Zhenyan. Before they were running around, and we're also playing every day the lectures, right, from Master's lectures. So it's good to read Hongying.
And right now we're
Yeah, doing meditation as well.
Exercise.
They haven't been doing you're starting this this week or whatever, right? We're starting to incorporate. It's been a bit challenging just doing 3 hours, obviously with now that we're moving to the night, Monday to Friday as opposed to just twice a week for 3 hours. We're adjusting the curriculum accordingly and rolling things out a bit more. Some singing to what we call storytime chess. And that was Emily, teacher Willing's daughter. Congratulations to her for, we kind of miss her now. We weren't expecting her to go so quickly. And partly that's why we've been able to move to Monday to Friday. She was preparing anyway, so it's great that she's got into the orchestra. So congratulations there. Anyway, so the chess Storytimes Chess is this new program that I recently bought. It's really good. The kids love it. We only just started about a week ago.
That's a king.
It's a king. Okay, king play, right? And this is a knight, mama, knight, a horse. So chess was one of my kind of favorite pastimes growing up. I was actually competing and was a Victorian junior chess champion back under 18 many moons ago. So it's something that I've always wanted to have my own little chess club. So here's here's my little experiment here. Other kids. Oops.
King. That's a king.
Sorry, let me move to the next one. Yeah, this is cool because it takes some, once again, a very abstract kind of game and make it more enjoyable through stories. Kids love stories. We all love stories. That's how we learn, and you can see how this little
12 years ago, we were trying to teach a child chess by explaining that the king moves one square at a time. The child looked at us and curiously asked, why? So we wrote a fun story about King Shaky, a silly king who lives in a pillow castle and is afraid of everything. Bees, trees, smelly cheese, even his own knees. When he moves, his hands shake, his legs quake, and he tiptoes one scared step at a time. Now, when we put the king down in front of a child, they no longer ask why. They pick him up and move him one scared step at a time because they're learning chess through fun stories instead of rules. Storytime chess is simple. Each piece has a fun illustrated story about how that piece likes to move. To bring these stories to life, we created standard chess pieces that have a twist. Each piece can hold a character from their story. This way, children can visually connect our stories to the chessboard and understand how the pieces move. After the children hear the stories, they can play full games of chess. Storytime chess includes 2 game boards, a story-themed board with our character designs, or a standard chess side for regulation chess. We also created fun mini-games, including an engaging card game that encourages children to use all the pieces on the board and takes their abilities to the next level. We've taught thousands of children ages 3 and up how to play chess through our network of educators by telling our stories in homes and classrooms across the country. Now, with your help, we can share our fun stories with families around the world.
Good. Yeah.
So go get this for your own home. It is really fun. Every single piece, they've got a story behind it. From King Chomper, who's this slightly overweight, chubby king who loves pancakes and pizzas, and he's like, eating. That's how he goes and moves through eating all this pizza around, and he's overweight, so he can only move one step at a time. So it's really fun. And then we also subscribe to Prodigies. One of the things that my mother's learned piano, and I was taught piano from a very young age, and I never learned how to sing with perfect pitch. It was always something, play by ear, something that I was only trained in the classical methodology. And there's a lot of new teaching methods which can teach kids almost perfect pitch sort of thing, and Prodigy uses one of them. It uses these bells. It's kind of cool. So we are using this to develop how to help kids sing in tune and so on.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Prodigies, where your kids will learn to sing in tune, play their first instrument, and come to understand the language of music.
Yeah, I won't play the whole thing, but you get the rough idea. So you can just go to prodigies.com and check it out.
Hey everyone, and welcome to...
And we actually have some videos of Prodigies in action. So we're combining our piano here to learn, each of the notes. So that's one excuse to use our television. Then Prodigies 2. What are they learning here? I wasn't cherry beat.
It's a rhythm.
Okay, it's a rhythm, and they're talking about beat, like beetroots. Cherry beats. It's fun. Okay, let's move on. I'm not very good at Google Slides. Anyway, and then from Tang Poetry, as part of our traditional Chinese culture side of things, to this traditional kind of German-based music education program called ORF, ORFF. It's a kind of funny surname, but this gentleman was quite influential 100 odd years ago in teaching music education. So from Tang Poetry, where we had star student Nora and let's see. So that's part of the ORF system, I think. And then we have, this is just a little short video about how actually ORF is quite often incorporated into Montessori classrooms.
The Summit Montessori subscribes to an approach to early childhood music education developed by German composer Karl Orff. Considered to be cutting-edge educational practice, the Orff music approach taps into children's natural instincts to make music through active participation. Children are guided by an instructor who is trained to consciously develop aspects of play into elements of music and movement. The children learn by singing, playing instruments, and movement, as they make music in a hands-on, playful way that is most natural to them.
This approach is also all-inclusive. There is always a place for the child, no matter what ability they're at. They're able to play the maracas, or they're able to sing, or they're able to move. Depends on what they think they're good at. So they are able to express themselves musically any time they are in the classroom.
Research shows that the study of music enhances concentration and improves academic performance. At the same time, performance art teaches children to overcome their fears and become risk takers so they can fully develop their potential. Uninhibited preschoolers have a natural love of music and performance, so it is important not to underestimate their capabilities. We tap their natural instincts early. In the preschool,
yeah, so it's a cool program. You should research it on Google. Lots of different websites and non-profits, associations promoting it. Cece's auntie actually introduced it to us a few years ago. So Cece's gone through the training and stuff. What else do we have here? And then obviously things like home economics. So we love cooking and eating.
我们在搞 muffin.
Kids love cooking, and I love eating. So it's perfect.
我们在搞
Okay, what else do we have? And Teacher Wu is amazing at her arts and crafts, and she's really hands-on, and the kids love it. So she's really, she taught many years in China, music and craft and arts and craft for kindergarten and elementary school kids. So it's been a real fun, and indoor and outdoor fun. So we have bought these indoor obstacle type things for the kids. The obstacles to classical music and outdoor racing as well.
2, 3, go! 哇 ，Nora 很快。
Yeah.
2
And this is something that I had one little lesson. It's something that I met the founder online through a mutual friend, and he's a bit of a genius at developing talent all throughout the world. He's been an educator. He was homeschooled himself in Israel back when homeschooling wasn't really a thing. His claim was like he just read 10,000 books. That's what his father just went to the library and interacted still with kids through neighbors and other friends, but he became an entrepreneur and very successful and a leading educator. So he talks about really how the world is shifting towards these important soft skills, AI and robotics and all that, technology is kind of changing the way things are developing. And so we need more creative thinking, problem solving, communication, leadership skills, etc. So he talks about really, he created these games called the Games of Genius or stages. He's had different sort of variations of the names, but it's all about rewiring, helping the child develop their cognitive abilities through just games, 5 minutes a day, and developing really IQ. If you think about it, if you've ever done an IQ test, it's all about pattern recognition, isn't it? So the ability to recognize emotional, intellectual, physical patterns and how they build and connect, pattern design, analogies, that's how we learn, and real-time composition, so the creativity side of things. So there's a really interesting approach to what he calls dynamic polymath thinking. So he calls it inventive IQ. So I'm still going through, there's dozens of hours of training that I'm going through as well right now. So I can start gradually, teaching this. The kids are a little bit young for it, but, I think he says that it can start as young as 3 and 4. So the games get incrementally more complex. And, one of the things that one of the first games I'll be teaching is like just showing how you can put together triangles and circles and squares in different combinations, and 3 to the 2, it's 3 times 2 times 1, it's 6 different combinations, right? That's what we learn in mathematics and combinations and probability. So we start teaching that from a very young age, different ways to incorporate patterns and see patterns and think in those terms. And there's all these other learning for English. That's something that we're a little bit behind. We're predominantly teaching Chinese, but we will be incorporating things like hooked on phonics and stuff like that, and different methods to get our kids up to scratch in English. Hooked on phonics has been, we haven't incorporated this just yet, but we'll start doing so shortly. It's quite a popular program.
With Hooked on Phonics, more than 5 million children have learned to read. It combines the engagement, interactivity, entertainment, and gaming value of an app with hands-on practice materials delivered to your home each month.
Yeah, I still have to evaluate. I haven't made, decide how we're going to incorporate all that stuff. But that's about it, really. We have kind of 2 schedules, kind of the half-day program. So we're only doing 2 days of official enrichment programs in the mornings. So the Monday, Thursdays?
Monday, Thursday.
Yeah, for now. And then we might switch to Tuesday, Thursdays, because Teacher Wu has to take Tuesdays off when her daughter's off at the moment, but I think it may switch to Monday. So we may go to Tuesday, Thursday. Anyway, we'll finalize that in a couple of weeks, I think. But for the half-day programs, the mornings will be structured roughly like this. So we have the morning work cycle, we have fast study, DARPA exercises, music time, stack, and either story time or reading program or chess and arts and craft, outdoor activities, etc. And then the afternoon is more of the Montessori, what we call the work cycle, is more to give kids that extended time to go through each, what we call these lessons that, they're prepared as part of the Montessori method. And then on the full days, which currently are Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, we're kind of flipping it around. We want the morning sessions to be the Montessori work cycle. And then the afternoon, there will be, slightly less enrichment programs that we will still incorporate. We still have, as you can see here in the afternoon, more fast study, and we're going to do exercises. So there'll be 2 lots of that in the full days. Not only we'll have fast study exercise in the morning for 20 minutes, but also in the afternoon, we'll incorporate that as well. There is what we call class observation charts. This is an example from the work that Cece was doing in Manhattan when she graduated. She's kind of hand scribbled stuff for the last month or two, so we haven't put that here. But the whole point of it is to be more customized. Every child, the teacher normally takes notes and so on. We
know more about the child
through observation, observing the child and making notes. Taking a leaf out of Little Lotus's presentation where they talked about creating things at some themes, we want to do that as well. We'll start that shortly, where, for example, each month, the first week, we'll have a theme about truth, right? There's so many different dimensions of what truth is about. So we can start teaching the kids to really understand through stories and analogies and deeper dive into what is truth, honesty, truthfulness, etc. Week 2, the second week could be about compassion and kindness, sharing is caring, and third, forbearance, what is right, from patience and tolerance and enduring difficulties peacefully, etc. And week 4 could be like some moral theme based on traditional Chinese Western culture. It could be one of the week 4s could be on manners or respect or filial piety, justice, courage, or whatever, right? So we can start kind of cycling through those things. And, even in popular Western culture these days, there's a TED Talk, which is a top 20 talk. And there's a gentleman here who was at a viral presentation on TED. I remember this fun presentation. He's a funny presenter. He talks about the importance of gratitude exercises and, kind of like experience sharing, kind of like journaling, so we can figure out how we can encourage our children to express gratitude and share or reflect, and do that. So, and even his 5 or 6 tips to quote unquote happiness at work or at home is to incorporate meditation and doing obviously exercises as well, indoors, outdoors, conscious acts of kindness, so actual daily practical examples of acts of kindness, complimenting people and so on. And you had a suggestion of, what was it, like a kindness box or something, basket?
We're going to have like a sharing box
or something.
So we're going to write down like what happening in the classroom. So if someone do something very kind and very nice, we're going to record it and put it in the box, and then we're going to share it in the group.
Things like that. So anyway, we wanted to also bring up how we're going to mirror the Little Lotus calendar year. So in terms of the breaks, so we'll send the link to everyone so we can kind of be in sync. In end of June, we'll have summer camps as well. So we'll figure out all those things later. But what's coming up, there will be Veterans Day in November, and then there'll be Thanksgiving break, etc. And we'll also have this, what we call Work with Your Child Day, something Cece you wanted to do, like the week of December 13th. I know there's a parent-teacher conference thing in Little Lotus, but we figured it's a little bit too early to have that because we've only really been doing part-time and just full-time starting this month, just for Nora. But anyway, that week of the December 13th, you can come along and just, spend 30...
I will send out the schedule for you.
Yeah. Or you can pick what day is convenient, and you can come and actually join us for an hour or half an hour. And then we'll have a winter break, etc., for a couple of weeks. So that's about it. We just, we're 30 minutes in or so, and then 30, 35 minutes. We just want to spend the rest of the time, another 10 minutes late, but for any questions or feedback, and really some time to share how we can create a better environment for our kids in terms of cultivation or learning environment. This is our first little homeschool, so we appreciate everyone's support and feedback, and we might have another one or two children joining shortly. Another Epic Times couple are interested. I think they're friends of Inga and Jack, and there's a few others who are interested. They recently moved here as well. But anyway, that's it. So, Teacher Willeen, do you want to say some words, share a little bit, of anything to add as well, or CC, before we open up to questions?
I don't have anything to say. I think you said all of I want to say. Thank you.
So let's just open up to questions or any comments and feedback. It's good to get a little bit of feedback, I guess, from parents. It's only really been 2 months of part-time, really 2 days a week that we've started this school. So perhaps there's a good chance we'll have some, obviously private time with each of you guys, but here's a chance so we can share a little bit and how we can be. You've gotten feedback from your own children, what we're doing right and wrong and stuff, and how our kids sometimes are a bit naughty. And so we've been looking at how to discipline our children. There's an article that, there's a question that actually there was a sharing sent just about a week ago. So it was kind of timely from another practitioner, and it was emailed to the list here about disciplining our own children. If a child refuses to listen when being disciplined, and if he continues to be stubborn, is it correct to let him have his way? We've got 2 boys, and they get on reasonably well, but they have their moments with each other, and it's a bit hard to control sometimes. But Master says, not exactly. Parents are committing a crime when they indulge their children. You can't say the degree of depravity today's human society has sunk to has nothing to do with you. Generation after generation, let me tell you that you have to discipline your children. I've noticed that the children in the society in the United States has been so restricted by its laws that people can't discipline their children. Disciplining children is almost like breaking the law. Children are thus being indulged and spoiled. Those children don't even know the most basic things about human behavior, let alone manners. What bunch of humans are being shaped for the future? Let me tell you this. China has the kind of tradition where you must discipline and educate your children. You can't indulge them. You may spank or scold them. We say that cultivators shouldn't get angry, but you can discipline children. If you're in a good mood and you spank them with a smile, they'll still feel the pain. The purpose is to teach a child a lesson, to tell him not to do bad things. Educating children isn't wrong. You can just think about it this way. I'm not doing this because I'm attached to my own things. It's doing a good deed for society and for the future humankind. But if you're overly attached to it, you'll go to the other extreme. What I mean is that it's not a problem to discipline children, but you shouldn't. You should do so sensibly. So we've noticed when our child starts sometimes, hitting each other, or occasionally it might have hit one of your children. So we apologize. We won't be spanking them, but we'll, take them, put them to their room and give them some time out sort of thing. But we're not here to say that we'll be spanking children at our school, which we won't be. But so far we've been so blessed to have such well-behaved kids from Nora and Eddie. They've been angels, really. It's just our kids are a little bit naughty. So anyway, so I'll open it to the floor if you want to share about anything or give suggestions. I know Karen and Chen opened their own homeschool for over a year, so we get to learn from them as well. You just need to unmute whenever. And you can just start sharing. So this is an open,
I don't really have a lot to add. Nora's feedback for us is that she really enjoys her days that she spends with you.
No, she's been amazing. Yeah. So, we probably wouldn't have gone full time if it wasn't for the encouragement, I guess. We were intending to start in January when our son was 2.5 and would be 2.5, but the good news from Wuling, her daughter is now no longer, here with us. So she could come pretty much most days. So gave us the courage to go full time. Jack and Inga, perhaps you guys want to share a bit and see from, how is Eddie? I know he's complained a little bit sometimes when our boys are a bit naughty. Edward doesn't at all fight back. They found that if our kids are, being a bit naughty. So
no, I think it's really don't worry about that. I think it's a bit harder for him to change the environment, and I think he likes to do things his own way. And at home, I'm not really like having any program with him. So
sorry, can you perhaps get a little bit closer to the microphone? Sorry, it's a little bit soft.
Sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Check is the one with the microphone in his ear. Yeah, I was just saying that don't worry about hitting. Really, it's totally normal, and he hits us sometimes as well. So I can imagine if he's at home, like in a comfortable environment, maybe he would be also able to hit other children. But he was having big problems adjusting because he's been always just at home with us. And I was saying that I also think he just likes to do things his own way. So suddenly now he kind of needs to follow a structure, which I think it's very, very new concept for him. So but I think he's adjusting well, and we are definitely very happy with him being there. And he loves chess. I'm actually interested in buying that whole set.
Get it. Get it. Yeah, he'll wrap it up. There's a lot of reading material, a lot of workbooks. They really spend a lot of time, going in depth. So it's a bit tricky when, I'm only teaching it once or twice a week, but if you get it for yourselves, then he'll really enjoy it. So, that's great. I think you get it on Amazon. I think I bought it on that. No, I bought it directly. I think it's $40 or $50 or something like that.
Okay.
Not too bad.
But, because he's having a lot of questions, and I don't know what's the story. So then he's then asking me like, "Oh, what did Mr. Kian said?" And I'm like, "I have no idea." And then he just explains me, "Oh, Mr. Kian said this and that." So just to be in the loop with you guys, I might also need to.
It's good to hear about that. I mean, it's really, it's very engaging. It's they're very clever to incorporate, because it's very child appropriate, very small pieces. Kids at that age love little things, and I think it's something that they can feel is there's some structure, that they know they're learning something kind of special, and there's a cool story attached to it, and it's very visual and very easy to remember. So it's really good. But definitely. How have you seen the development of Eddie, Teacher Wu, and gradually he's kind of getting into joining in on all the different things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he was more of an observer, but now he's really getting into it.
Participate.
Yeah. So it's a gradual process. It's tough when it's only twice a week part time, but he's getting into it, I think. Yeah. And hopefully, I think Sophia might rejoin. We January. That's their intention. So it'll be nice to have another girl in the group. So maybe you guys can arrange a play date with her, Karen and Inga, and be good to just encourage. The mother definitely wants to come back. Her daughter kind of was a little bit spooked on the first day and didn't come back, but I think she's also got the grandparents, and it's just easier, more comfortable or something to stay at home. But anyway, what about disciplining children? I mean, how are you guys handling that at home? I know it's all a sensitive topic.
So I basically probably am the one who does the most. I'm not gonna say I do most of the discipline, but I'm usually I realize I need to be like firm with the child. You know, like if he does something wrong, or is annoying, like just whining. My family didn't tolerate whining when I was growing up. Like it was, if you complained, you were like, it was a big no-no. It's sort of like this boomer mentality, you know, like you don't complain, you don't whine, you know, just like suck it up, whatever. That's what my dad would always tell me. I don't know if that's good or not, but that was the mentality I grew up with. So that was, for me, that's that's how I feel with him when he's whiny. Sometimes he gets into this whiny sort of phase, and I like it. It makes me quite. I try not to get too moved by it, but usually if when that happens, I like will deny. You know, I don't want to do spankings very much, but deny him whatever toys. If we're gonna go somewhere, I turn the car around. You know, put him in his room, stuff like that. Spankings, I mean, I think eventually it'll get to that point, but I'm not really like, I got spanked a lot when I was a kid, so I'm totally on board with spankings. My mom would spank other kids. It was perfectly normal. I think it's part of every traditional culture, Chinese, Egyptian, European, whatever, Native American, whatever. It's everybody spanked their kids. It's part of human history. It's not supposed to get angry and like,
that's the key, right? There's not being angry. We spanking with a smile, sort of, you know, gently we started actually talking to our kids about, you know, Master said we can, you know, spank you, but we'll be smiling, and they started laughing. But you know, it's interesting. I started doing the 3 strikes and you're out sort of thing. I'd warn them if they were doing something naughty. I'd warn them, and they're starting to actually. They're understanding the concept of 1, 2, 3. Number one, they're getting, they can read, they know their numbers, so they know when they're pushing us the buttons. If they're whining or complaining, you know, on the 3rd time, would send them to the room, and they're starting to behave. It's kind of like we train them really, so it's a good thing. So you know, we won't be spanking your kids. That's definitely not our intention, or I don't think it's even allowed legally. That's for something the parents to do. But you know, we haven't spanked our kids in front of in the school here, right? Our kids, we will send them to you know, to the room, and for them that's terrible. You know, they don't want it. That's the last thing they want. So they're beginning to behave, I think, a little bit better. But no, it's interesting. We in Chinese culture, we had these tang tiu. We would be, you know, caned. These little small caned. That was once or twice. I think I was caned. I think they stopped doing it, but yeah, the good old spanking sometimes got us straight. What about with Nora? I mean, how, you know, I can't imagine with a daughter. You know, I don't know how much disciplining you would do, you know, as a father, you know, I don't know, or a mother towards a daughter. Any sharings?
Yeah, I think I'm actually more strict with Nora than Chen is. He kind of, she's like his weak spot. So I'm more firmer with her, and I think she knows as well. We are pretty strict with our kids at home, and then and we don't really let them like muck around, and we, in terms of hitting them, we just the most I do is just slap them on their hands. If they're naughty, that's probably the extent of it. We just and even that we don't do that very often anymore.
Maybe
and
twice the whole year.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be often for us either. But,
right, and I think we're lucky in terms of the 2 of them are very receptive to us just explaining things to them, and they're pretty reasonable kids. So if we explain to them why something they did is not right, then they usually they will take that on and really understand. Nora is a bit more. She'll push her buttons more than her brother does. So it's something we are still, you know, figuring out how to deal with her. Huashan's much better. If you tell him not to do something, he'll usually listen. Nora has Nora's a little different in that regard. She'll keep pushing her luck and really test you. So I usually just, what do? When she does it, I kind of lose my patience with her a little bit quicker than Chen does. So a lot of the times, Chen would actually kind of continue with trying to, like if I tell her not to do something, she keeps doing it. I'll just kind of like, in some sense, just kind of give up, and then he'll continue to kind of talk to her and tell her to stop. And then even though he's more strict with them. Really, he is more strict with them. So sometimes I know that I'm a little bit more lenient, and will kind of ignore me. And then if he says, stop, then they'll actually stop. So that's a little annoying for me. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I got them kind of used to when they were younger, and we disciplined them. I basically would just whatever it was. They know if I pick them up and I, hold their hands in a fist and don't let them open them, they know they're in really big trouble. And basically, the tone of voice that has just carried through. So whenever they hear that, they know that they need to stop doing whatever they're doing and pay attention. So I think it's something that we developed from very early on, and like they're also very used to being disciplined or told off a little bit, right? And then they're very used to a few minutes after that me telling them to come and sit down with me and talk about it. And we'll reason with them at that point, or I'll find a story or an anecdote or like make something up about what happened, and the eventual consequences of their behavior, and making it into something bigger or something more relatable to them themselves has really helped, and that helps us reason with them in terms of discipline.
Yeah, that's really good. I think we definitely can do more of that. There's definitely times when we console them after they kind of lose it, and then we send them off to the rooms, and we come in and kind of talk to them and get them to express themselves a bit. So, and I think it's good how you're using different stories and analogies and consequences and stuff. The reasoning, I think we all know in theory what we should be doing, but we just I've noticed that when we lose it, we've got to remind ourselves. So I think cultivation, if we cultivate well ourselves, that's the key, right? So, and then we can reason with them. They're very receptive in general, I think.
Kai is getting better.
Yeah, I think Kai is definitely getting better. The little one is still in the terrible twos where he's kind of screaming when he doesn't get his way a little bit. But he's getting better as well, I think. But the environment's been really good for him as well, I think. So he's starting to mature a lot faster, I think, than perhaps Kai. So it's good.
That's really true that when the younger kids have a good example, I can see how it would rub off really well. And that's really what Nora had for the last year of having the homeschool at our house. She had 5 or 6 or at one point 7 kids that were older than her, and the teacher that we had here was fairly strict, and she took it all in, right? She saw it, and she kind of understood how she needed to behave, and I think she's taken that forward with her. So I really hope that that's the same case with Li Hong now, and he's just it will rub off really well on him.
Yeah, no, it has. I think Nora is now the eldest of this group, and she's been really like a bigger sister to them all, and has been amazing. Like an angel. We couldn't have picked better kids to join our homeschool so far. So it's been really good. But yeah, I think we just need to do a little bit more fast study, and we're going to start doing the exercises now. I think we've got more time, so we'll start incorporating that as well. Now that we have a full day Monday to Friday. Teacher Wu, is there any other because you've had the most teaching experience, and your daughter is 13 now. So any other sharings from experiences that you can share with us on how to, your daughter is so well behaved, disciplined, and talented. So anything you want to share from your experiences?
So I think the most important things is cultivation, because we all Dafa disciple. Yeah. So during these 2 weeks, Emily can, back home, because she had the lessons. With her violin teacher, and most of time she talked to my husband and I, and is the 实修, the true cultivation is very important, very important. And she, so even asked me if I had a chance to meet some of her classmates in Northern Academy, and she liked me to, so tell them shortly maybe, so the most important things is cultivation. So that's why I always, Miss Cici and me, and always talk to each other, and so it's a very important thing is how to help our kids. So so we'll try our best, and use a different way to help the kids to so study far and do meditation, do practice, the exercise, and also starting this week, Miss Cici and I, we two of us, we took some time and study far. I think it's very important. That's my. I think this is for as a teacher, as a Dafa disciple. I think this is we should focus on. That's very important things. Based on this, I think we can do better and help our kids. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good that I'll try to join in as well whenever. But perhaps even as a group here, we can maybe share, or at least maybe we can come together on Zoom even once a month to share more about our own cultivation states and our in relation to our children, as well as so maybe we can we're obviously so connected in many ways. So maybe we can think about how we can do some group fast study, maybe once a month, even if it's for half an hour on a Zoom, and we can share. Maybe we can try to see whether that might work. Maybe even if it's just once a month. This is a suggestion for the and then we can catch up at least once a month, and because we're always so busy during the week, and it's just you guys drop the kids off and bring them here, and we might not be able to hear some of the things that are happening, or some of the issues that are happening at home that we should be aware of. As a suggestion, is it a good idea perhaps if we can try to arrange something once a month, maybe for an hour on Zoom like this? It's already an hour. I think it went pretty quickly. Perhaps that might be a good way, just once a month, to catch up in the small group environment, do a bit of fast study together and just share. Or maybe we can pick an evening that everyone kind of feels is good. Maybe a Wednesday night, even like this, once a month, or once every, we can, whoever can make it, maybe we'll just do it, and whoever can join can join. How's that for an idea? Maybe the first Wednesday of each month or something at 9:30. Was that a good idea?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds good for me.
I'll be up for that.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll start doing that then. So any other final comments, or ultimately it comes down to our own cultivation state. I think if we can we started there was a practitioner who is very an old friend of Cece's from Atlanta, who got her onto the 4 a.m. club. The 4 a.m. So we started joining the 4 a.m. group to do the exercises, hour meditation. It was like 2.5 hours all up. So we did that for a few days, and we
Not few days, like for like about a month.
A month, yeah, all right. and then we've kind of dropped off a bit, but we're trying to get back into routine. I was sharing with actually other practitioner families as well, and it's such a difficult thing to do your 1 or 2 hours every day. But I think by having this school, it's been such a blessing. It's making us a lot more conscious of if we don't do a good job of if we're not diligent, it's going to affect our children, which will affect your children, etc. So I think it's been really good to just start this and go full time. We were like, we're not quite, are we ready yet? We're just gonna go, how is it going to affect our children? I said, no, we're just going to be disciplined and diligent, and we'll just do it. So hopefully we can encourage each other, all of us here, to be more diligent on cultivation, and it will rub off on our children. All right. So on that note, feel free to reach us individually if there's anything that we need to be aware of, and we'll just set this Wednesday evening. I think 9:30 is not too.
First of the month.
Yeah, first Wednesday of each month. We'll send reminders in the group and go from there.
Okay, cool.
Cool. So it's getting cold. Bring lots of warmer clothes for the kids. And it was freezing outside today, but it is getting cold quickly. So any other final comments? Otherwise, thank you, everyone.
Thank you for attending.
Thank you, Kian. Thank you, Shishi. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Teacher Wu, for everything. Thank you, everyone. Good
Thank
night.
you, everyone.
See you
Good
guys
night.
tomorrow.
Good night.
Oh, tomorrow
Thank
is
you.
what
Good
day? Tomorrow's
Thursday.
Thursday. So Edward is coming tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Right.
Terrific. All right. See everyone tomorrow then. Have a good night.
Okay. Good
Bye.
night. Bye bye.
Good night.